Hello and welcome to today's video. Now in today's video we'll be taking a look at two stocks and one index. The stocks we're taking a look at is Tata Consultancy and Pharma. I'm taking a look at it in terms of what equity investors can do plus what future and option traders can do with both names. Apart from that, we'll take a look at the Nifty Midcap. This is part of the usual pre-market videos which I do, where I look at the index expiring on that day in terms of what option buyers can do, in terms of what option sellers can do. So that outlook will be given too. Apart from that, let's take a look at the news which will be affecting our markets this week. Now, on the global front, this is a very data heavy week. Why I say that is, I think the most important data this week is going to be the Chinese PMI data. This is as China has had a stimulus in the past 1-2 months, basically in two phases. So now this PMI data will tell us if the recent stimulus measures have had a real impact on the economy or they were just window dressing and they did nothing for anyone. So these numbers of PMI are very important and will affect how the US market trades, which in turn will affect how we trade. The second data point which I believe is very important is the US GDP data. This is the US GDP data. Most of the world markets will adhere to how the US market reacts to that. So the US GDP data and real consumer spending for July to September period will be coming out, and that is important. Next is the Eurozone GDP flash data. That's an important decision, but not that important. Then the next one is the Bank of Japan has its rate decision this week. They're expected to maintain status quo. Before I wasn't taking note of what the Bank of Japan really does. But for the past few months, I have been doing because, the last meeting which they had for rates did not affect the world markets, in our market. But the one before, when they did a sudden decision, it basically threw the world and the markets and even Indian market into a spin for 1-2 weeks. So due to that, I'm going to be paying attention to the Bank of Japan rate decision. If they maintain status quo, then it won't have an impact. But if they make a sudden change in the decision, that will have an impact. So that's it on the global front of news. On the local front, the main thing we're going to be having to watch is foreign investors selling. This is foreign investors. If you look at the amount they managed to sell in October, is huge. It's basically, if you put it in dollars, it's a colossal amount they've ended up selling. And I know a lot of people, especially TV media people, especially CNBC, I'll put it openly, they are trying to justify this, that they're being, this percentage of their holdings in the Indian market and everything. But when you take a look at what foreign investors have sold in October, then you add it to this full year, it comes to a shocking amount. And then when you compare it to how much they've invested from, let's say, 2008 to now, you can see that this year's selling will have a huge impact on the foreign investor holding. And some are trying to justify it as profit booking also, TV media again, but I think that is utter rubbish, because if you look at, let's say, large cap stocks, you can open any stock and it will be down more than 10%, and average, I would say, between 15 to 20%. All large cap stocks are down comfortably. Mid cap stocks, you open them, you'll see they're down between 50 to 70%. Small cap, some have even crossed the 70% mark. So if you're an investor who has bought the stock and are deciding to hold it for 1 to 2 years, you're not going to be now selling your stock when it's already, let's say, even if they started selling at the beginning of last week, things are already 40% down in, let's say, mid cap and small cap. So why are you going to book your profits when you're already technically in a loss? Right? You'd have booked it at the top. Foreign investors are not that dumb. They're coming with their money across the pond. They do know what they're doing. So they will not book when the whole show is over. They'll book at the top. So that is why I believe that notion is pretty much just window dressing. And so, as I said, domestic will be watching what foreign investor selling is doing. And then the second thing which I believe will bring in some positivity is, due to this being a Diwali week, all the brokers and everyone will start pumping Diwali picks and everything, and that should bring in some momentum of buying. So I personally think that this week will most likely end up trying to form a bottom in the indexes, and let's see how it does. But why I'm saying that is because there'll be so much positivity being spread that Diwali has come, Diwali picks, so by next Diwali they should have done well and everything, and that will, a lot of the people who, since majority of the retail in India do not do their own analysis, they basically rely on what brokers are sending as analysis, or what is on social media, what's on the TV channels and everything. They will end up at least buying some quantity, which will help a bit in my point of view. So that's it on the news front. Let's see how the week goes. And now let's take a look at the stocks first, then I'll look at the Nifty Midcap. Now, before I go into Tata Consultancy services, anyone who wants to join me for my services relating to trading and indicators and all, you can WhatsApp to the number shared below, or basically, which is 6361196118. You can WhatsApp to that number, and someone will guide you on how to join and what is the procedure. Now, coming to Tata Consultancy services, Tata Consultancy services is at a crucial point. Why I say that? It has managed to basically hold the support zone between 3940 and 3980, as it came down towards this zone. And I believe anyone who reads my investing articles know I covered TCS. I didn't cover it in a YouTube video, but I covered it in an investing article, and I had said at roughly this point that we have reached the top, and I had given a target of basically 4,000 rupees. Now we have managed to reach that, and according to me now the quant support between 3940 to 3980 is going to be very important. And now, how should investors look at it and traders should look at it? Now, as long as it is between 3940 and 4145, this is going to form a range. So if you're an investor, only consider a long above 4145 with a target of 4300 and 4400. If it breaks 4145, it will be going most likely to those two. That is the investor's point of view. Since you can't go short, you can only go long. It is as simple as that. Now, if you're a futures and options trader, how should you trade it? Now, according to me, as long as it's between 4145 and 3940, this is an option selling zone. You can sell calls and you can sell puts and earn some money as long as it stays between that zone. However, if it breaks 4145, then it comes an option bias thing with an initial target of 4300, and an option buyer due to decay will not be able to hold for a target of 440. So how I will trade it personally, if it breaks 4145, I will do option buys, but I'll also do option sells. I'll basically sell below 4145 puts. So that way, even it stagnates here and slowly goes here, I will be able to earn via the option sells, and then the option buys I'll be able to go in quick in and quick out, because that's what's required for option buying. So that is my view on that. But on the other hand, if it breaks 3940, then we'll be having a quick fall to 3800. So basically, how it is trading right now, it is as long as within this range, you're not going to get any clean. Break above this long, break below this short for futures and option traders. So that is it on TCS. Now let's take a look at Sun Pharma. Now Sun Pharma is basically been at the top quite some time, and according to me, it is in a very similar situation as TCS. Now, the only issue Sun Pharma is going to have is right now this high volume bearish bar. Anyone who's been watching my videos for a while knows that I pay a lot of attention to high volume bearish bars and bullish bars that form on my chart. And yes, it is an indicator which I use. And if you want to know more about the indicators, then you'll have to WhatsApp me to the number shown below. Now, as long as we are within this high volume bearish bar, things are not going to go up for Sun Pharma or down. This is so how I've looked at it. Technically, this volume bar forms the range, and it has formed the range already. But there's also quant resistance at 1900 and a quant support at 1830. So as long as it is between this zone, don't expect anything clean. It will break both sides. But the minute it breaks 1830, then it will have a fall to 1790 and 1740. Now, why did I look at the short side first rather than the long side? This is, I believe, even if we break 1900 and go towards 1950, it will be a dead cat bounce. It will be basically trapping in new money, which will then bring down back towards this level. So I believe if you're an equity investor, do not touch Sun Pharma. It has done what it could do. Now it formed a top. It has been in this top for quite some time, and any up move will be basically pulling you to the top again and then tricking you in. Unless you're an equity investor who's looking to buy for, let's say, a week only, then yes, you can do it. But the issue comes with that unless you're a person who doesn't look at your risk and reward, this will make sense. But if you look at in terms of risk reward, this does not make sense to go long even from 1900 to 1950. So Sun Pharma equity investors, there are better stocks out there. Forget about it. What about future and option traders? Future and option traders, as long as it's within this zone, it's a box range, which is only good for option selling. If it breaks this, then it's a quick option buy towards this, and there you can start selling calls above it because this is a very strong resistance. On the other hand, if it breaks 1830, then it's a quick shot to 1790 and then probably another quick shot to 1740. So my trading plan for Sun Pharma, I already personally hold call sells in it, and they're doing okay. And most likely, I will be waiting for it at some point to break 1830. Until then, I'll just sit with my call sells, let them earn the money they can earn, and see how the whole situation plays out in the coming trading sessions. So that is my trading plan for Sun Pharma. Now we'll take a look at the Nifty Midcap. Now Nifty Midcap is at an interesting spot. Why I say that is, if we look at the charts, now here is where the dilemma between the logical side and following the technical rules comes. Now if I look at it in terms of technical rules, we should break 12,200 and go to 12,050, and even probably we can go to 11,920. And but when it comes to the logical side of the brain, where you're thinking, okay, we've had a huge fall, now Diwali is coming, can the fall end up sustaining itself? So how I'm going to be playing, in fact this is going to be a mix between my general view of the Midcap Nifty and my view for this expiry. Now how I'm looking at it, I think if it breaks 12,200, yes, we will be having a fall to 12,050 and 11,920. But okay, I will trade that as an intraday expiry towards here. But I will end up most likely ending up basically going long somewhere here on positional basis via basically options. So now I will choose how I want to go along with the option buying or option selling and everything. But how I'm looking at it is more towards that, yes, if we go towards 12,050 and 11,920, I can sell puts, let's say on option sell side, expecting a bounce up, a dead cat bounce, not a long-term bounce, which will cause of the positivity which is going to be generated around the Diwali festival. So my trading plan for this is twofold. On one hand, for this expiry, if we break 12,200, I will take an option buy short towards 12,050, and if it breaks that, then 11,920. High likelihood if 12,200 breaks, we are going to 11,920. But at the same time, if we stay between the range of 12,400 to 12,200, I will not touch it. This is a zone that we are literally in the fire of the whole thing. So within this zone of 12,400 to 12,200, I don't want to trade it. I don't want to even think about scalping it because it's not enough points. Let's say it's a 200 point range. Let's say each candle forms 50, 60 points. What are you really going to earn? Because let's say you get one candle of 50, 60 points identifying one direction. So the next candle can be, let's say, 80 points, right? And it will already reach near the top of the range. So what are you really going to make in terms of everything? So the risk reward is simply too poor in this range. If we break 12,400, I'll go for long for 12,520 to then 12,600 to 650 on option buy. If we break 12,200, I'll go short to 12,050 and 11,920. Option selling, as I said, even for intraday, I will most likely not sell options this expiry for Midcap Nifty. unless we break either 12,200 or 12,400. If we break 12,400, then I will sell P's and below, and then wait for it to go to one of these resistance zones and sell calls. If we break 12,200, so if we break 12,400, I'll go. If we break 12,200, let me repeat that because I think it got a bit jumbled. Now, option selling, if I do it, if we break 12,400, then I will go long by also selling puts of, let's say, below 12,400 or 12,200 and below if I'm cautious. As it goes up towards these zones, then I'll sell calls here. On the other hand, if we end up falling and breaking to 12,200 support, then I will initially sell calls of 12,400 and above. I'll be cautious there always. And then as we reach these supports, I will sell puts of below that. So my trading plan for this expiry is a bit complicated because I usually say I'm not going to enter put calls in the morning, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No. This time I'm going to let the range decide how I should go. If it stays within this range, I will not do option sells. I don't want to sell this range as I think it's too risky. The high likelihood of people getting that, which these days they call in Indian social media injections, is very high here. So if it only breaks one of these zones, I will then take the trade as I specified. Otherwise, I prefer to sit out of it and have my peace and do more option buying rather than option selling for this expiry. So that's my trading plan for today. If it makes sense, then put your own analysis on it and take the trade as you wish. And if you like the video, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell. And if you're interested in joining any of the services, you can WhatsApp to the number shared in the description box below. And thank you.